What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Powell going deep, and it's caught in the end zone for a touchdown by Xavier Diaz. A great throw, Diaz wide open.
.32-yarder here, well within his range.
Ball snapped, spotted, kick is up, and it is down the middle.
Good by plenty.
It looks like it's going to be short. Stretch that baby. There we go. Give it a good pull. And Vineland's defense. Oh, no.
What? That was a little suspect there.
And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Guzman's Gridiron presented by the Red and Gray Gridiron Group. Kyle Bennett here with you and joining me each and every week, the namesake of this here program, head coach of Vineland High School football, Coach Jose Guzman. We're back in the saddle, Coach.
Back in the saddle.
It's a rainy, dreary Wednesday as we're recording this, so we had to get our game faces on and everything, so we're ready to rock and roll. But before we do, make sure you guys are following Vineland Football on social media to keep up to date with everything going on throughout this season and beyond, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia on your social media platforms of choice, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast. It really helps it continue to grow, gets it into those algorithms that we all know and have a love-hate relationship with. But keep subscribing, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and then if you want to watch the show live every single week, it premieres Game Day Eve on the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. You can hop in the chat, leave those positive comments, but be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click that bell icon so you know when the episodes are premiering every Game Day Eve. Coach, we're back at it, and we're hitting the road.
We are hitting the road, Kyle. So, the kids are really stoked about going ahead and finally venturing off home site and putting out their best work that they can, and ultimately trying to get this W on the board.
Obviously not the result that you guys wanted last weekend, but still very much like Eastern, there was a lot of positives to take away from a lot of individual performances and a lot of multiple drive efforts that stood out. When you guys sat down and watched the film this week, what stood out to you guys from the matchup against Pennsauken, what they were able to do really well? And obviously Randall Blunt is one supreme talent in that backfield for them, and he was able to get his. And, we talked about it on the broadcast, Marcelino and I. He's been on that Pennsauken team in games we've called the last 3 years, and he just seems to, no matter who the opponent is, step up to the occasion. What did you guys take away from a running back performance like that on film and just the film in general?
Again, that kid is special. Kudos to him and his team for getting, their W on the board, and their coaching staff. Again, the kid's he's a talented kid, and I wish him nothing but the best going forward in his future endeavors.
Yeah, he's. We said, we were like, you kind of know when someone has it. Randall Blunt's going to be playing at the next level for sure. But I thought as the game went on, you guys did a quality job of like containing those bigger runs that he had on the early downs. And then as the game progressed too, it felt like a lot of things that you guys have been trying to accomplish were able to get done. What did you guys take away from the offensive side of the ball and what Elijah was able to do, what the running game was able to do? And then obviously Elijah left late in the game, so Georgie steps up, and we'll talk about Georgie a bit later in the episode as well. But seeing that next man up mentality from a player who was coming off of injury himself, playing a different position to kind of start the game. He was really the primary kick returner and then got in some reps as the game went on at running back and then steps in at quarterback. And I got to say, George Figueroa III had a nice little spiral on that football, if I do say so myself. But what did you take away from a performance like that for somebody who, you know, is trying to make his mark on the team and is a leader on this team even at his young age? What did you make from his performance overall, from special teams to running the ball again, coming off of injury, and then stepping in as backup quarterback?
Let me tell you something. Georgie's a quality kid. You know, he gives it his all every time he's out in that field. And, you know, again, he's not the starting quarterback, right? But he does take quarterback snaps. You know, we do utilize him in a wildcat formation. And he, you know, he did what he could, you know, and it showed. You know, he had that nice run when he got the ball right at the beginning there, and you know he like I said, he tried his best. I know he had an INT there, but at the end of the day, man, that's not really his position, right? So you know, my hat's off to him. He just goes in there. He's a great soldier, and he did his best to try to get his team to get that W.
What did you make from his, coming back from injury and running the ball and seeing that? Because obviously you want to see when guys are coming back from injury how they kind of reacclimate themselves to their natural position. And a position like running back, there's so many cuts and bobs and weaves that you have to make, and there's a lot of planting on that ankle, on that foot.
Right.
What did you make from just the way he looked coming off of the injury and how he performed at his natural position?
Well, at running back, he didn't lose a step, which was nice. Again, TD and Dara do an excellent job with our kids to try to get them back on the field as far as all of the modalities that they have the kids go through in that athletic training room. And Georgie's one of those kids that's, making sure that he gets there and gets all the therapy that he needs. But he looked like himself, He was planting well. He was running through tackles. I would say he's back.
Yeah, 100% agree. And, to come off of when we talked about it when the injury first happened, it looked a lot more severe than it actually ended up being, which is a great thing, obviously. Right. But to go from where we were thinking when he got injured to where he is now is unbelievable. And just a kudos to, like you said, TD, Dara, the whole training staff, and a credit to George for knowing his body and taking proper care to get back to where he was last weekend.
And that's a big emphasis. It's been one of the big emphases all year. Make sure that you're taking care of your bodies. Make sure you're hydrating your bodies. And for the most part, like I said, our kids do exactly what's asked from the training staff at here at Vineland High School.
And on top of that, I think we saw a lot of promise from the passing game when Elijah was in, for most of the game.
Right.
A lot of good routes that were run by the receivers, a lot of good communication, which I feel like has not necessarily been lacking, but it's been off in a lot of instances. We saw, obviously, the underthrown pass to Zyleek a couple weeks ago, but, I thought the communication was so key in this game, in the passing game, and it really stood out that Elijah was on the same page as his receivers, and it resulted in 2 passing touchdowns that were absolutely incredible.
Yeah, he, like I said, that kid is just, he's a winner. Elijah's, again, one of our leaders on this team. He wears everything on his sleeve. But, I tell him, all the time, and Coach Fitton as well, make sure that he doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He stays in that nice mid area there in between, and he does a real good job of doing that. And kudos to him, man. I mean, he's doing his best, so we're gonna keep plugging, Kyle. We're gonna keep plugging, and we're gonna get over the hump.
Quayshawn Davis, you called him out last week on the show, said he was one of the players you were looking to see step up, get a little bit of redemption that he absolutely needed. And you want to talk about stepping up. He was like Adonis out there, one-handed in the corner of the end zone on one of those receiving touchdowns. Take me through that play in particular when you guys are in real time on the sidelines seeing that all kind of unfold, and then when you go back and watch the film and just see how that play unravels and seeing the separation that Quayshawn was able to get that close to the end zone sideline and everything, I thought was wildly impressive. The body control that he had was excellent. And, on top of that, to come down with that football one-handed in a place that Elijah put it where only Quayshawn could come up with it was so impressive, and it was SportsCenter top 10 worthy.
I'll tell you what, again, love Quayshawn. He's having a great season. Kudos to him for putting in all the work that he needs to. But, I mean, if you look back at that play, you'll see he gives the kid a double move, loses him. Once he gained that separation, his athletic ability took over, and the rest is history. Elijah threw a dot, man, only where he can catch it. And just so happens, Quayshawn gets the one-hander, So, again, my hat's off to that kid. He's come up big for us this year.
And I thought that was one of, Elijah's been on this team for a year and a quarter of a year so far. I thought that was one of his best throws he's ever made in a Vineland High School football uniform.
Yeah, but then again, even his freshman year, he threw a couple.
Yeah, that were like,
whoa.
Yeah.
One that comes to mind is that Cherry Hill game. You know what I'm talking about, at the sideline?
Uh-huh.
I mean, wow. The kid he's definitely got the it factor. He's just he's a kid that puts in the work, puts in the time, and then reaps the benefits when it comes down to game time.
And it felt like from the passing game, the running game, they don't get the shine that I think they deserve. The offensive line has been very, very good to start this season.
Again, my hat's off to them. They've been working, they've been earning. I mean, these guys are about four of them, and this to be true, are hurt, but playing through their, playing through the through that pain and producing at a high level, man. And they're a tight-knit group. That O-line is very tight-knit, and it shows every week they're getting better and better. So again, my hat goes off to the O-line, and of course our O-line coach and Coach Sam G. And I mean, I can't say enough about those kids, man, other than keep working, keep doing what you're doing, because at the end of the day, cream rises to the top.
And, they're giving Elijah time, room, space. They're giving the running game lanes to run through, which we saw again with not only George, but we saw another phenomenal performance from Carlton, C.J. Thomas. But I think, like you talked about that offensive line, I think it all starts with Zach Zavis, and his leadership and being a captain on this team. I think that is just such a trickle-down effect from his leadership, optics and what he does and the work that he puts in. It just festers throughout that entire offensive line, and it makes everyone want to compete, very much like the running backs, very much like the wide receivers. And it's not the sexy position, the offensive line, so it doesn't get that spotlight, but Zach Zavis is kind of the catalyst for this offensive line being so close-knit, and I think it's a testament to just his captainship and his leadership on this roster.
Yeah, Zach Zavis is, enough said. The kid's just a great kid, period. Great leader, a kid that you can count on, both offensively and defensively. Again, let's not forget that he's also playing the nose position and doing well, very well. Very impressed by that kid. I've always been impressed by that kid when he was a freshman. I would tell him, like, you're gonna be that guy, man. Very soon you're gonna be that guy. So keep working, and you can't say enough about Zach Zavis. He puts in the work and then carries the load. I mean, then if, like you said, all that good energy that he has in him festers throughout that O-line and offense as a whole. Just a great kid.
100%. And, we had, for the second time in show history, Co-Homegrown Players of the Week. And this week it is brought to you by our good friends at Family Medical Equipment. who also provide our injury updates on the show. And Family Medical Equipment is a locally owned and operated family business focused on enhancing the quality of life within our community. Family Medical Equipment maintains a professional staff of technicians, licensed respiratory therapists, and registered nurses experienced in a wide variety of home medical equipment and supplies to ensure a premier quality of service. You can visit their Vineland retail shop on 106 West Landis Avenue, right on the Ave. It's a perfect location. Unit 10, 106 West Landis Avenue, Unit 10, and experience the difference that a family business provides. They are there for the community. They are stepping up in a big way, especially with a lot of these, corporate companies closing down. To have a locally owned business that is going to be there for your community, it's second to none. You can also contact them via phone at 856-794-8050. So big thank you to Family Medical Equipment for being a proud partner this season of Guzman's Gridiron. Coach, we had Co-Homegrown Players of the Week, Quayshawn Davis, George Figueroa III, for similar and different reasons, in my opinion. As I'm watching the game,
Right.
Player of the game doesn't necessarily mean you had the best performance, no matter what level it is,
Right.
no matter what sport it is. And on George's standpoint, to see him step up and play all three phases, step into that quarterback position, everything could fall apart if
Right.
George doesn't step up that way and play the way that he did. And, sure, he had an interception, but at the end of the day, he was like, yeah, give me the rock. I'm going to go play quarterback.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
me, that's a player of the game, and a testament to just George bouncing back from injury, being a leader on this team. The entire interview post-game, which you guys will see by the time you're listening to this, George didn't take his helmet off.
Right.
And I joked at the end, I was like, George is ready to go out there and play another 60 minutes.
Yeah.
He was ready to rock and roll. And just a testament to just his determination to want to will this team to victory no matter what. If it means taking kick returns, if it means playing his natural position of running back, if it means taking the rock and slinging it around at the backup quarterback position, he did whatever it took to help this team kind of maintain until that final whistle blew. And then Quayshawn Davis, our other homegrown player of the week, that touchdown was just spectacular. And it was a redemption story. You called him out as somebody that you wanted to see step up and be, one of those spotlight players this week that were going to help you guys if you wanted to succeed. And he did just that. He had multiple catches in this game that were big time, and obviously that touchdown stands above all because the balance, the one-handed catch, the highlight reel of it, and you could just see like the relief off of his chest when he came down with that football, and just the hard work that he puts in was put on display. So George Figueroa III, Quayshawn Davis, your co-homegrown players of the week, brought to you by Family Medical Equipment.
Congratulations, boys.
What do you make of someone like Quayshawn kind of rising to the occasion and ringing the bell when it's called upon him?
Well, it's nice because now we know we have another kid that we can rely on. He's turning into, almost like a security blanket for Elijah, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, Quay puts in the work, and he deserves his accolades, period.
And I mean, when you have someone as talented and as fleet of foot as Zalik Travis on the outside, to have somebody who can come down with the football and kind of use the middle of the field, and he may not be the tallest receiver, but he reminds me of, those Wes Welkers and Julian Edelmans and those, Olamide Zacchaeus that's with the Chicago Bears right now that are maybe not the tallest, but they've got hand control, they've got fleet of foot, and they can use the middle of the field, and they're not afraid to go in the middle of the field to come up with a catch.
No, I mean, it's a special skill set that these guys possess, and we're just lucky that, we have a guy like Quayshawn on the team that, he highlights it every week.
100%, and I think it's only going to grow from here now, too. Now that he came down with that touchdown, he knows he's capable of getting in the end zone like that. I think it's only going to continue to grow, and I think you're going to see that chemistry with him and Elijah continue to just blossom.
Absolutely. Not to mention, the likes of Zalik as well, Caden, Chestnut.
Who also had a great game.
Yeah. So the kids are coming along. They're learning. They're meshing together. So, we'll see what happens again come this week.
And we wax poetic about George, but again, just an admirable performance from him, especially in his first game back from injury.
Absolutely. Again, for a kid who, is going from one position and all of a sudden getting thrown into the fire to be the quarterback of the team, and then taking it on the chin and saying, yeah, coach, just give me the ball and I'm rolling, it says a lot about his character. So we love Georgie, and you haven't seen anything yet, in my opinion.
100%. And I mean, you look at what this team has you've seen evolutions so far through 4 games, and obviously there's not a win in the win column yet, but as we mentioned, week 0, we've mentioned it time and time again, this is a very young football team.
Right.
They are learning together. They're going to learn what it takes to win together. It hasn't come in the win-loss column just yet, but I think you've seen growth patterns from different units, from different players, from the team, that it's right there ready to break through. What do you make of just the growth so far, as we're now 4 games through the season? What do you take away from what you guys as a coaching staff saw, over the summer from this team, leading into week 0 against Delsea, to where we are now post Pennsauken and heading into Clearview, which we'll preview on the second half of the show? But through 4 games, what's the kind of growth report card for you guys as coaches, with such a young roster that are learning what varsity football is all about together?
What I got to say on that is our kids are actually learning how to actually be one on the field, making sure that you're doing your job. As long as you're doing your job, worry about your job and your job only. If every man on that 11, right, does their job, and the trust is put on one another, the sky's the limit. They know they can achieve, and it's just nice seeing them come together and getting these long drives. Okay, the week before we had this really long drive. I don't know if you remember, right, against Eastern, and it got halted at the end. We didn't score, but it just shows that if you're doing the right thing, you're following your alignment, assignment, adjustment, good things are going to happen. Again, I go back to that Eastern game because there were so many sustained drives, so many, Kyle, and it's something that they can ultimately see. Wait, we've come from point A, which was back against Delsea, to point B now, where we're meshing together really well. We're making the holes for the running backs to get through. We're giving Elijah time. So now the offense has that particular time to go ahead and produce. So kudos to our guys, man.
And when the offense is producing, I feel like so many people are just so NFL blinders on, where it's everything feels like a well-oiled machine. But when it comes to the high school game, when you have your offense starting to click, that's going to make this defense that has had very admirable performances no matter what the scoreboard says. If you're at the games, you see how well this defense is playing. It's going to give them time to rest and not be on the field as much. And I think that's been a huge part of this early go. Is it took a little bit for the offense to get going, but now that you see it going, the defense gets a little more rest. They're a little more energized when they go back out on the field. And it's just the process of building that kind of inter-team relationship where it's hey, you guys sustain the drive and control the line of scrimmage, control the time of possession on offense. You're going to let us rest up, and that way when we go back out there, we're as fresh as we can possibly be going up against that offense and stopping them. That way we get the ball back, and you guys can do it all over again.
Right. And, that's all a part of, our kids going ahead and taking on the adversity, right, head on. And then working together, man. Working together to ultimately achieve a goal, and that's getting that W on the win column, Kyle. We are so close, man. So close. These kids, they put in the time. They put in the hard work. It's just, like I tell them after every game, it's time to let go of the excuses and let's start reaching these results together.
And I think one of the things that I've taken away, working in sports media and everything and hearing different coaches talk about it, especially at the professional level when they have rookies on teams, and they say, we're 5 games in. The rookies are no longer rookies. I'm putting the message out there to, the young guys on this team, the first varsity guys. You're no longer, rookie guys on this varsity team.
No.
You have 4 games of experience under your belt. It's time. Like Coach Guzman said, it's time to kind of answer that bell and take that next step forward, which you guys as a staff, we as broadcasters seeing you every week, we know you're capable of.
Right.
It's there. It's time to break through, it's kind of like that meme of the guy, pickaxe going to the diamond. You got to break through and find that diamond.
Yeah, it's again, it's a process, and we understand that. But at the end of the day, we've got to find a way to offensively produce, defensively as well, in stopping that opposing offense. So again, man, it's week to week. Like we tell our kids, put the past behind us and let's look forward to making sure that we end this season in a strong way.
One last thing here before we go to break, too. I think we talked about evolution and growth and everything. The growth of the special teams in just 2 weeks has been spectacular, and I think a lot of the adjustments that were made over the past couple of weeks have really showcased themselves, and it's given more of a spotlight on how talented Brett Brosh is and how he can get the football away for you guys, how he can kick the ball down the field, and his angle placement on kickoffs as well, I think, was pivotal in this game against Pennsauken in a lot of ways. But the overall growth of special teams, and then Georgie doing the kick returns, I thought was a great adjustment as well to kind of ease him back into action. But he looked great. He had great returns as well.
Right.
What did you make of week-to-week growth of special teams from Eastern, which we saw the most impressive growth, to where Pennsauken was, and what you took away growth from Eastern to Pennsauken on special teams?
Again, Coach Henry Garton and Ryan Shelton do an excellent job with the special teams. We've made our adjustments as a staff, and it's been the adjustments that we've needed. And now you see it's a lot more smoother. We're getting to our positions on that field where we should be. So again, man, kudos to our guys for going ahead and taking in what Coach Shelton and Coach Garton have for them.
And pardon me for not knowing, long snapper.
Yeah.
Who's taking the long snaps this year?
Jacob, my boy Jacob. He is.
The improvement has been on full display. Let me tell you, watching
He's a good kid, man.
the growth
He's
from the earlier games, Delsey ACIT to Eastern Penn, the speed of which that ball is getting out from his hands, night and day. It's been so impressive to watch, and it's one of those things, again, that won't show up on the box score. It won't show up on, the highlight reels. But that's such a pivotal thing, especially if you're in a punting down, to get that football out as quickly as possible. If you're kicking an extra point, you're kicking a field goal, to have that quick ball release is so huge. Testament to that young man for making the adjustments needed, because it's been night and day on those long snaps.
Let me tell you something about Jacob. So that gentleman there is just a class act, grade A kid, coachable, listens. He he kind of makes me laugh a lot, because he's the most polite person you'll ever meet in your life, man. Yes sir, no sir, oh thank you sir. It's just, listen, his parents did a great job with him. I love the kid. He's he's coming into his own with the long snapping. And I told him, I said, so the other day I pulled him to the side. I said, Jacob, come here, man. I said, you're really getting really versed in your craft, man. I'm really, really proud of you. Really proud. He goes, yeah, coach, but I still got to knock some time off that delivery. I said, so maybe I'm hearing quietly in the background there, you want to go full scholarship D1, right? I said, just to give you another hint, they don't just call it being a specialist for nothing. Big money. Mm-hmm. Big money involved in long snapping. Big. Like millions of dollars big. Mm-hmm. And all you see is his eyes just like, as I'm saying that, his eyes just light up, because you were in the locker room. He had his mother waiting outside for him, and his eyes got all big, and I was like, guess what? You bring those times down, first of all, a scholarship to a D1 school in the horizon. Mm-hmm. And then from D1, you bring your times down to that NFL time. Now you might have, instead of a scholarship, a bag of money sitting and waiting for you.
And in between, that NIL money now.
There's a lot of things to be had. So that gentleman's just a class act, great kid. And like I said, his parents did an excellent job with him.
100%. On the other side, we will get into this week's injury report. We'll give an update there. We'll preview this Clearview matchup and much more. But don't go anywhere. You are listening to and watching Guzman's Gridiron right here on Underground Sports Philadelphia. Hey everybody, quick ad break, and I want to talk to you about our amazing sponsor, Allen Associates. And if you are looking for a reliable and experienced insurance agency that caters to all your needs, look no further than Allen Associates Insurance Services. With over 6 decades of experience under their belt, they specialize in health insurance, financial services, and accounting. Whether you're a part of the public or private sector, they've got you covered. Their family-owned business currently helps upwards of 300 groups throughout New Jersey, providing them with the best insurance options available. You can easily learn more and access their services by visiting their newly renovated website, AllenAssoc, that's AllenAssoc.com. So join the family and let them help you secure your future. Contact them today online or by calling 856-692-2250. That's 856-692-2250. Big thank you to Allen Associates for being a proud partner of Guzman's Gridiron.
Out here, strength isn't a choice. It's a way of life. And when your back carries the weight of generations, you need support that never gives out. In the city, the load's different, but the drive is the same. When every step matters, your knees shouldn't slow you down. And when the work is done, healing isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. At Family Medical Equipment, we build relief into every stitch, strap, and product. From the fields, to the office, to your journey back to full strength. Family Medical Equipment. Built to support. Made to last.
Hello, I'm Mayor Anthony Fanucci. Vineland, New Jersey offers both a great business location and an outstanding quality of life. But don't just take my word for it, the experts agree. We're proud to be recognized as a premier food processing and logistics hub, one of New Jersey's most affordable and desirable cities, and one of the best places to retire in the country. Visit vinelandcity.org and see how our resources can work for you. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season.
And welcome back, everybody. Big thank you to our sponsors and Coach. For the first time this season, we're heading on the road. But before we head on the road, we got to check in on this week's Family Medical Equipment Injury Report. Like we mentioned earlier in the show, be sure to visit our friends at Family Medical Equipment. You can visit their brick-and-mortar store in Vineland, New Jersey at 106 West Landis Avenue, Unit 10, or give them a call at 856-794-8050. Family Medical Equipment, the official injury partner here at Guzman's Gridiron. Coach, a lot of, recovering injuries. We saw Georgie return last week. Feels like Omar Davis is on the precipice of return potentially. And then obviously during the game, Elijah knocked out with what I believe was just concussion protocol.
Just concussion protocol. Elijah's fine. They put him through the battery of tests. The med staff that we have on site, as well as TD and Dara, our athletic training staff. So he's going to be a go. He's going to be a go this week. He, like I said, he passed all the battery of tests. Again, I always make sure that our kids, their health is our number one concern. There is no, early push to get the guys out there. I want my kids healthy. And if it means to go ahead and sit them because, some of our kids, they're their own worst enemy, right? They want to be on that field. And I understand it as an athlete, but as a head coach, you got to make decisions that benefit our kids. So, as far as he's concerned, he got cleared by the med staff and the training staff. But then, you got the likes of Omar, who's still, day to day, because of that leg injury there. So, he's nursing that.
Which feels like an improvement from where it initially was.
Yeah,
where
absolutely.
He was week to week, and now it feels like he's
day to day,
kind of coming along and getting closer to return.
Yeah, he's day to day. So again, we're going by way of what the med staff here at Vineland and the athletic training staff say, as well as you have Aiden Barriento. He's actually with the doctor, with our school doctor as we speak, getting looked at. That knee is it's very ginger. So I told him, right to his face, like I told you, I love that kid. Your health's my number one concern. Period. I don't want him, 40 years down the road, right? He's an older man now, and he has a limp for the rest of his life. That's not how at least how I run things.
Right.
I look my kids out, period. And sometimes you've got to look them out from themselves because they can be their worst enemy, right? But he's on probably more like not going to play this week. And it hurts, because I know he's a competitor. That kid is an ultimate competitor. He wants to play.
He seeks me out before games.
Yeah, he wants to play. That kid's an animal. He wants to play, period.
And you can also, on the flip side, that you can feel his presence being missed.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Other guys are having to step up in his absence in a big way, but you can totally feel the way that he is the quarterback of that defense being missed.
Yeah. Like I've said, he's our Mike. He's our guy. He's the quarterback of that defense. Sorely missed, right, by us. But again, all my kids' health is of paramount concern for me and the staff. So, yeah, you probably won't see him. Robbie Bono, he has a boot now on his foot. He's a tough kid, man. Just a tough kid. It's nice to see that he earned his way into that starting lineup, and he wouldn't want it any other way. But he's going to be a piece that, again, is more on week-to-week status until that foot is healed. Plus, he's nursing that shoulder injury as well. I mean, he's just a tough one, man. He's a tough one. So, he's going to be missed, this week. But, again, it just leaves room for opportunity for others to step up in their absence and make the most of their snaps, Kyle. And that's what we're looking at as a staff. Who's going to step up in these big shoes to fill? We'll see.
And, I mean, on top of that, too, and this comes all love, Zyleek Travis, it feels like he's been cramping up a lot. Zyleek, this is just a public service announcement to you, my friend. Drink your fluids. You're too talented of a player to be coming on and off the field like that. Drink your fluids. Stay hydrated so you don't cramp up.
You know what's crazy about that? I'll tell you, Kyle. That gentleman drinks more water than the ocean has. It's unbelievable. He's constantly drinking. He constantly does whatever TD and Miss Dara tells him.
Yep.
It's just unfortunate that
he just exerts so much more than he's probably able to bring in.
Yeah. So it's a tough one with Zyleek. It's more so his body just, if the temperature is up, it's hot, it's humid.
Which it was hot last weekend.
100%. And you saw the likes of him going down with these cramps, But it bothers me, man, because, when I'm down there with him, he looks right at me. He's like, Coach, I do it. I said, and I'm like, I know you do everything. I'm not mad at you. I understand you do everything. Miss Dara, TD, they understand. You do everything they ask. They're not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. It's just, it's the situation. You're cramping. I mean, so it's with Zyleek, it's very weird that he just keeps cramping from time to time.
I think we're just going to have to go and buy one of those inflatable pools from the toy store and just have him just absorb it and then retain it in the pool.
Retain the water, man. Come on.
And then he'll have an extra lip from the pool hanging out that he can catch the ball in the pool, and then he can just keep running.
Keep rolling.
And the ball will just sit there. He's going to love that one.
Yeah, he's going to be like, for real, Mr. Bennett. But no, like I said, that's one of our leaders through and through, offensively, defensively on the team, period. And, we just wish that he stays healthy and no more cramps, knock on wood. No more cramps the rest of the season for him, man.
Obviously, like we mentioned, first road trip of the year. But guess what, guys? There's no better place than our hometown, Vineland, New Jersey, in the city of Vineland, one of our proud partners here at Guzman's Gridiron. Like we've been mentioning, gearing you up. November's right around the corner, believe it or not. We're closing in on the end of September already, which is crazy.
It's unreal.
But this November, the Garden State Comic Fest is coming to the new Vineland Convention Center Saturday, November 15th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday, November 16th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Meet Melissa Joan Hart, plus fan favorite stars like Dan Parent, the legendary Archie's comic artist and writer, Kevin Clash, the voice of Elmo, Splinter, and Baby Sinclair, and Keith Williams, the iconic comic book inker from Marvel, and more. Comics, cosplay, collectibles, and over 6,000 fans. Visit gscfvineland.com for all the details. Again, the Garden State Comic Fest is coming to the new Vineland Convention Center Saturday, November 15th and Sunday, November 16th. Visit gscfvineland.com for all the details. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. First road trip, and it's an interesting first road trip because first 4 games of the season being at home, playing on that turf at Catone Stadium. Now going to Clearview, the one school on the schedule that still plays on a grass field, if I'm not mistaken.
Correction. They now have a turf field.
Good for them.
They now have a turf field, so kudos to them. They got their turf going now, so it'll be familiar ground for us. And we're going to go in, like I said, fully lock, stock, and a barrel and ready to perform and leave our best out there.
I'm still going to pick the brain of a coach here because I find it interesting. Even if they did have that grass field still, let's say, hypothetically, what's kind of the, adjustment period there for you guys? Obviously, you practice on grass, which is also helpful.
Right.
But from a game speed standpoint of preparing these guys from going 4 straight games on turf to game speed on grass, what would there be any adjustments there or preparation that would change?
One of the main things is at least in my 16 years here at Vineland, every year we would play Clearview, their grass would just be a little higher than normal.
Yeah,
it would just and you know what? Any edge that a home team can get, God bless them. It is you take advantage of it.
Home field advantage,
right? So they know that Vineland's going to bring a lot of speed with them. So ultimately, they would go ahead and try to nix that a little bit by letting the grass grow a little higher and kind of slowing the field conditions up for our guys, and making it more conducive for them for their primarily a run team. So that would be the main thing that I would always put through our guys' heads. Like, listen, they're going to have the taller grass. You're going to, you're not going to be rolling at the speed that you think you are. Okay. So, keep that in your back pocket, and our guys would respond, so, now that it's a turf field, there's no, it is what we play on.
And I think for a young roster, that's helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So, now it's more or less, let's stick to our game plan. Let's do what we do, and let's get this first W under our belt.
Also, to kind of piggyback off of that, just because inquiring minds are interested in this from just football junkies like we are.
Right.
Would you have any of your skill position players potentially have different cleats on a grass field for a game versus turf?
Whatever regulation allows for as far as length, you want to go ahead and use whatever that regulation length is, use it. Because, of course, the grass is longer, right? So you want to go ahead and make sure that cleat go ahead and dig into that earth, into the ground, so to speak.
Especially because turf doesn't have as much give.
Right. Now, versus the turf, totally different. Turf, you want to go ahead and make sure that you use the standard cleat that turf allows, because you go in there with a longer cleat, it's not gonna benefit you.
Yeah.
It's not gonna benefit you. So.
Going on the road for the first time with this roster, what is the preparation like that for you guys as coaches? Obviously, the past 4 weeks, you know where you're going. You're staying at home.
Right.
It's right in the backyard. Now team's getting on a bus. You got a bus trip. You got to, be on time for the bus. You got to be ready to know, hey, you're going, more than just, 10 minutes down the road. It's going to be a longer road trip to Clearview, to Atlantic City, to Highland. What's kind of that preparation aspect to get ready for this 3-game road stint that starts this weekend at Clearview?
Well, responsibility has been a key word at practice. You got to be responsible for going ahead and making sure that you're totally prepared mentally, physically, for the rigors of a road game. Our kids understand that, and our kids are going to go ahead and be ready come game day on Friday.
And we played Clearview in the past. It was 2 years ago, I think, we were at Clearview the
Right.
last time. They're no strangers to having not only, for the time then, their own home field advantage there, but they have some of the best fans in South Jersey.
Yeah.
Preparing for road game fans, what is that?
The 12th man.
Challenge for you guys, like knowing that, hey, we've had our home fans, now we got to prepare to be kind of, the visiting team and having their home fans going for them and going rowdy for them. It's a different type of environment.
Yeah, our kids understand that. Our kids are pretty versed in handling that type of pressure. But again, we just tell them, act as if you're home. All that is white noise in the background. That's all it is. Concentrate on your plays. Concentrate on the 3 A's, alignment, assignment, adjustment, and let the sparks fly. That's it, period.
Clearview feels like we've talked about it over the years, like one of those new era rivalries that kind of dates back to the Isaiah Pacheco era.
Right.
There was some fierce battles between Clearview and Vineland then.
Yeah.
There's been some fierce battles between them in recent history, too, over the past couple of seasons.
Yeah.
What do you think makes Vineland and Clearview such a fun and interesting matchup by the way that they're coached, your guys' coaching style, whether it was Coach Russo or yourself,
right?
That makes it just such a fun matchup and always, goes down to the distance and it's always waiting for that final whistle to go for the final score to truly be in the record books. It always feels like there's some fun and just like a breath of fresh air type of rivalry between you guys.
I think it's more or less, kids being kids on social media, talking it up and making it bigger than what it really is. It's ultimately us going there, performing our duties as a team, as a staff, and being businesslike in our efforts. After we do what we do, pick up our bags, come back home. But I would say, if I had to guess, it's the kids being kids, just making all this hoopla online to build this momentum moving forward. And then, of course, other kids in the school that are not affiliated with the football team at Clearview, they use all that as fire for them.
Right.
So then right when we step off the bus, it's like, rah, rah, rah,
and it's always a positive, it's a positive environment. Like, I genuinely, like, when I see Clearview on the schedule and we're going there, I get excited because it's a fun place for us to travel to.
100%.
They always treat us well. Their team is super respectful. They're very talented year in and year out, too.
Yep.
And I always enjoy the Vineland-Clearview matchup just because it feels like, you have your county rivalries. You have, some built-in rivalries that have come across over the past couple of years. But whenever Clearview's on it, it's like that fun, friendly rivalry that at the end of the day, you guys are, like you said, going to shake hands. You'll pick up your stuff and go.
100%.
But when it's game time, it's such an exciting game more often than not.
Yeah. And again, kudos to their fans. They bring a really good atmosphere for the kids to play, and ultimately that's what you want, right? You want your kids to go, especially if they're going away to a venue, not to worry about what happened, that happened, that's horrible. No, it's their fans getting rowdy. In
a positive way.
In a positive way, nothing crazy, nothing belligerent or anything like that, and ultimately making it a fun venue to go play at. Somewhere where you're like, yeah, okay, that's what you guys want for us? Okay, well, we're going to try to put a stamp on this too.
And I'm sure for you guys as coaches, like, that fires you guys up too, to want to go in and, showcase everything as coaches as well.
Absolutely, man. If any coaches in any aspect of any, type of sport tell you no, then they're lying. You ultimately want to win. You ultimately want to go ahead and leave your mark on that field, especially if you're a visiting team. It makes good for everybody, but it is a positive environment over there in Clearview.
100%. And, our Clearview matchup here, one final ad break here. Our game preview brought to you by our good friends at Allen Associates. And if you're looking for a reliable and experienced insurance agency that caters to all your needs. Look no further than Allen Associates Insurance Services. With over 6 decades of experience under their belt, they specialize in health insurance, financial services, and accounting. Whether you're a part of the public or private sector, they've got you covered. Their family-owned business currently helps upwards of 300 groups throughout New Jersey, providing them with the best insurance options available. You can easily learn more and access their services by visiting their newly renovated website, which is available at the link in the description, both audio and video versions of the show. So join the family and let them help you secure your future. Contact them today online or by calling 856-692-2250. That's 856-692-2250. Big thank you to Allen Associates, celebrating their 65th year of business. And if you go to them, let them know Guzman's Gridiron sent you.
Yeah.
Tell Corey you're coming from us. Big thank you to Allen Associates,
Absolutely.
as always.
Thank you, guys.
What's the mentality going into this one? I heard, in the post-game huddle last week, Coach Smith talking about the team just going out and having fun and remembering that you got to have fun when you're out on the field. And I feel like that is a message that you guys carried into this week, because it truly, at the end of the day, that's what it is. You're playing high school sports with your friends. It's supposed to be fun. That's rule number one at the end of the day.
Ultimately, like I tell the kids, if you're not having fun, then why are you doing it? You know what I mean? Like I know when I played, and I shared this with my kids, I had a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun, Is it fun to lose? Absolutely not, but it is fun in that, when you're out there with your guys, that you're giving it your all and you're performing at your highest peak of performance. And let's say you come up short, at least you could look yourself in the mirror and say, I gave it everything I had, everything. I left it all on the field. You know what I mean? And I did it in a way where I was having fun. Why? Because I knew my 3 A's, my alignment, my assignment, my adjustments. I already watched film on that team. I did all the right things to prepare myself mentally and physically to take on this upcoming opponent. So, yeah, ultimately, Coach Smith hit it right on the head. If you're not having fun, then why are you out there?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you should be having fun doing your job, doing what it is that you need to do in order for the team to succeed.
100%. I think that's just got to be rule number one. At the end of the day, no matter what sport it is,
Yeah, no matter
here at
what.
Vineland High School or any school,
Yes.
just have fun, go out there and enjoy yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's what sports are all about, is enjoying what you're doing.
Absolutely, Kyle. And that's what we want for our kids. We want them to, again, we're molding young men for the future, man. Again, it goes way beyond. I know I might sound like a broken record, but it's the truth. It goes way beyond X's and O's. This sport, especially, it's in my opinion, the ultimate team sport. The microcosm of society. I've said it before, man. This is the ultimate team sport. It shows you how to ultimately act the right way in society. In my opinion, that's all. But if you really invest in this sport, your heart and soul and your time, you gain so much from it, man. So much. Like it teaches so many life lessons and the guys out there that have played football, they know what I'm talking about. They totally know. It's a family, man. You have families, that are dysfunctional. You have families that are functional. You have families in between. Guess what? This is a family. You know what I mean? It's a family, and I love all my kids. My coaches love all the kids here. We do what's best for our kids, and at the end of the day, that's ultimately what we're trying to do is, build better men for them all.
You mentioned with Clearview, they're primarily a running team, and, watching film on them this week, does that still ring true for them? And if so, how do you guys prepare for another team that's very run-heavy like you kind of saw last week, and the growth lessons from that, and preparing for another running, first team, and also doing it without Aiden and seeing who's going to step up in his absence to help kind of fill the floodgates of the running game?
Again, big emphasis was put on, the run game this week. We ultimately have to stop teams from running the football to make them one-dimensional, especially if that's their bread and butter, running the football. So the kids know, they know what's at stake. They're more than prepared for this team. So ultimately, what we got to do is see what happens come Friday under the lights, man. But I'm biting at the bit to see what goes on.
What are you most looking forward to? We mentioned earlier in the show with the growth of the passing game and seeing the receivers and Elijah on the same page. What do you want to see as the next step in that transformation, that evolution there, to make sure that the passing game continues to evolve? And obviously, I think that's predicated on how well the ball's been run by you guys on the ground and seeing CJ step up. Georgie this past week getting back in the mix. Benny Rojas Torres also running the ball very well.
Yeah.
What do you guys make of the passing game and how well it's been set up by the running game, and what do you want to see evolve from Pennsauken to this week in the pass game?
I want to see more people get involved. I want to see more kids get involved. I want to see guys ultimately absorb that playbook, being able to be at the right spots at the right times, making sure that they're a blanket for our quarterback, that they're finding that open window in their pass route. So again, man, we're going to see who steps up this week. But I'm going to tell you this. Our kids are very excited. Our kids are amped up to ultimately try their hardest in getting that W for the first time.
It worked last week, so I'm going to let you call somebody else out again this week. Who do you want to be that X factor stepping up in red and gray?
You know what? I'm gonna put it like this. I would love to see Caden Chestnut, come out of his shell. He's a kid that works hard. He's a good kid, man. I would love to see, again, Quay repeat and rinse repeat. He's a great kid. He's just he makes me laugh all the time. He's always Uncle Goose. And these kids, man, they come up with all these nicknames for you. I want to see him, go ahead and do his thing at a high level. And like I said, man, Zincraft, he still hasn't broke that
right there. He's
there, Kyle. He's got to do it, man, because he can be an absolute force at tight end for us. And I just want to see Elijah keep maturing every single game. Better decision making every single game. And he is. He's doing his due diligence and learning and accepting his faults. If he makes a mistake, he knows, he accepts it, he takes it like a young man should, But who else would I want to see get out there and break out? I love Justin, our young receiver, and it's just he's battling through a little injury. But I'll tell you what, if he can get through that little injury of his, he's a special kid, man. He's a special kid. He shows you glimpses of what he can do. I'm just hoping that maybe this week he puts it all together.
And then on the defensive side of the ball, too, like we said, in Aiden's absence,
right?
Who are you looking for to kind of answer the bell there and be, like Georgie was last week, at quarterback? Who do you want to see kind of step into the shoes that – they're big ones that Aiden leaves out there, but who do you want to see try to fill those shoes and kind of help direct, traffic on that defense and keep everybody in line?
Barias Hill.
He's been great this year.
Yeah, he's a sideline-to-sideline linebacker, constant motor. Love that kid.
I feel like we call his name every play on the broadcast, and that's not even over-exaggerating.
He's a sideline-to-sideline linebacker. I told him I'm very, very proud of Barias because he has matured as a young man. He's not that hot-headed Barias where he's causing, ill-advised penalties for, pushing someone after a play or something. He's the new improved Barias Hill.
Just like Aiden.
Yes, just like Aiden. And then we spoke on this a couple episodes back on those two young men. I'm very proud of them. Another kid that's going to have to fill some shoes there as far as our Mike is CJ.
Who's been great.
Who's been doing his thing.
Doing everything.
Yep.
I want CJ to make it so difficult on me. Last week, it was so difficult to not just call him back for another player of the game. Right. I want him to be the thorn in my side to make it so difficult that I can't pick him as the player of the game. But I want him to play so well that I'm like, damn, CJ's running the ball real well. He's making plays on defense. How do I not pick him as the player of the game? I want that to be in the back of his mind to just continue play. He's been so impressive.
Listen, Carlton Thomas is going to be a name that is spoken around for a while, man. He's a baller, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's a baller on both sides of the football. So I want him to, go ahead and hold it down this week, man. I want him defensively. I want him to have a breakout game defensively. Offensively, you can see what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
You see it. It's right in your face. You know what's coming. Defensively, he's got to get his keys down. He's got to make sure that he wraps and runs through people. But when he puts it together, he has some phenomenal hits on defense. I mean, you hear it. It's thunderous. So, as far as the middle linebacker position, I want to see him really step into some big shoes as far as, Mr. Aiden Barriento not being there.
It's going to be a big one at Clearview, 6 p.m. kickoff.
6 p.m. or is it 7?
We'll put it on the screen one way or
Yes.
another in post to
You'll
let you guys
see it.
know. You'll know. It's either 6 or 7.
7. Yeah, I want to say it's 7.
6-7. How about that, kids? I'm in tune.
I'm gonna put if it was bet on red or black and black was 7, I'm gonna put it on 7.
There you go.
I'm gonna put it on 7.
I'm in tune with the TikTok memes, okay? But either way, 6 or 7 p.m. kickoff.
Yes.
You'll see it on the screen here. It'll be
Absolutely.
linked in the description as well so everybody knows. At Clearview, myself, Marcelino Ojeda on the call. Big thank you to Clearview for being so easy to work with, too, with our broadcast team, with Doug Diola and everything to make the broadcast happen. So it will be on the Vineland Public Schools YouTube channel, so tune in there or come out to the game. It's a very fun environment like we talked about. Even for visitors, it's a great environment. So come on out. And, Coach, hopefully we're sitting here next week talking about the first win of the season, talking about improvements in all 3 phases, and just another week of improvement for the Fighting Clan varsity football team.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens under the lights come Friday. But come out and support your kids. They're doing a great job, and they're fighting week in and week out. So.
Be sure to subscribe to Guzman's Gridiron on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to listen to the show, and then if you want to watch the show, it premieres every game day eve around 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, and then it's available to watch whenever after the premiere is concluded. But it's like live TV, so tune in during the premiere. Leave a like on the video. Leave those positive comments in the comment section, and if you click the bell icon, you'll be notified when the premiere and all of our videos on the channel go live. And, of course, follow Vineland Football on social media to keep up to date with everything going on throughout this season and beyond. Coach, best of luck on Friday.
Thank
See
you,
you at Clearview. And as always, everyone, go Vineland.